In this video, we're going to talk about how to fill out the IRS Form W-4 married filing jointly for 2021. So if you have this form in front of you, this is the IRS Form W-4. Now, if you need a second copy or a third copy, I'm going to leave a link in the description at the bottom. So you just go ahead and click on it and print it out. Now we're going to go through the walkthrough for married filing jointly. If you need another variation of filling out the IRS Form W-4, check out my channel. I've done a ton of videos on the IRS Form W-4. And if there's another filing status or a question that you have for filling out the W-4, let me know in the comments down below. And I'm also going to point out two of the biggest mistakes that I see when filling out the IRS Form W-4. And if you need more help, I'm going to show you exactly where to look to make sure that you're getting the IRS Form W-4 filled out correctly. Now, before we do any of this, if this is your first time at our channel or you haven't subscribed, click on the subscribe button at the bottom. My name is Travis Sickle, Certified Financial Planner, helping you reach your financial goals. Okay, so we are going to fill out this paper version, but we're going to use the online estimator. This is the easiest way of filling out the IRS Form W-4, especially if you're married filing jointly. If you have a job and your spouse has a job, this is very important that you use the online estimator in filling out the W-4, or there's a good chance it won't be as accurate as possible. And I'm going to show you exactly why. So let's go ahead and pull it up on the screen. And I'm also going to leave a link in the description at the bottom for the online estimator, which is through the irs.gov website. So link in the description at the bottom. So here we go. Okay, so here is the online estimator at the IRS's website. The first section is going to be your filing status. For this walkthrough, we're doing married filing jointly. No one else can claim you as a dependent, so we're going to check off no. Dependents, if you have dependents, check off yes. For this walkthrough, we're just going to say no. Do you have income? Yes, that's why you're filling out the IRS Form W-4. Now, here's where we're going to choose how many jobs we have. Now, this is not only how many jobs we have right now, but it's all the jobs that we're going to hold in 2021. So if you had a job earlier in the year and now you have a new job, then enter in 2 so you can make sure that you enter in all the withholdings from that previous job, because this online estimator is basically estimating your total tax liability for all of 2021. So you want to get this as accurate as possible. So make sure that you check off the correct amount of jobs that you have or have had. So that is a combined number. For this walkthrough, I'm just going to choose 1 for both myself and my spouse. So that's what we're going to check off. We're going to say no to the pension. Now, if you have income, such as self-employment income, then you want to check off these boxes. So this is for yourself, or if your spouse has self-employment income, you want to enter that in. It's going to get as accurate as possible for your tax return. So any other sources of income, make sure that you're accounting for them right here. Now I'm going to check off or click on next, go to the next page, and we're going to start with your job. So your job, if you have had this job the entire year, including last year, then you've started from January 1st. If you're going to continue working there or you think you will, then check off yes. And then you're just going to check off how frequently you get paid. Now, if this is a job that you've had or a new job, then you're going to check off no and choose the start date and the end date if you don't work there anymore. Or if you got a new job after January 1st, you're just going to choose the start date. But since we've had this job all year, it's not going to ask us for that date. So now we're going to go to the next section, which is how frequently are you paid? I'm going to choose twice a month. Now, the most recent pay stub is the date that you want to put in here, or pay period ending date. So we're going to choose April 1st and choose whichever is your most recent. Just look right on your pay stub. Now, if you think you're going to get your pay stub like tomorrow or the next day, you might want to wait a day or two to fill this out and then just use that date as that date so you can get it submitted so it's as accurate as possible. Otherwise, you can still go through it. Now for the next section or the next line, enter the total wages that you expect to receive this year. So that is just an expectation. So for this walkthrough, I'm going to choose $50,000. If you're not really certain, just do your best guess. We can always go back and and redo this estimator and resubmit the IRS Form W-4 to your employer. So you want to just get as accurate as possible. So I'm going to choose $50,000 and enter any bonuses that you're going to receive this year. I'm going to put 0. Of course, if you are going to receive bonuses, then you want to put that in. Enter year-to-date withholdings. This is going to come from your pay stub. So there's two numbers that you're going to pull off of there. The year-to-date number and then the pay period number. So for this, I'm just going to put in $2,500. Now this is a little on the high side, but I want to show you something and a reason why as we go through this estimator. But put whatever your pay stub says. So if you earn $50,000 and it's a lot less than $2,500, you've done nothing wrong. Just go ahead and stick it in there and move on to the next section. The pay period, again, you want to put that in there. I'm just going to put $100. Put whatever your pay stub says in the pay period right there. And then we're going to go to the next section, which is, do you have a 401k? Now, this is a traditional side 401k. If you have Roth contributions, Roth 401k contributions, that is not what this is asking for, because it's trying to figure out if we should reduce your adjusted gross income to get it as accurate as possible because you're saving into your retirement plan. So that's why you would check that off. Or any retirement plan, 401k, SEP, Simples, any of the retirement plans that go in pre-tax. And I'm going to check off no just for this walkthrough. And the same thing is true for the HSA, FSA, and pre-tax childcare credit accounts or other cafeteria plans. All of that stuff is pre-tax. So if you know you have a pre-tax benefit, go ahead and enter that amount here. And this is only from employee side, not the employer funded. It's only employee. And did you or will you contribute? So we're going to check off no. And then we're going to enter our spouse's information. Same exact thing. You want to enter it in here as accurately as possible. So go get your spouse's information or else this will not be correct. So does your spouse expect to hold this job all year? Yes, we're going to say yes. Same thing as before. If not, if it's a second job, go ahead and say no, enter in the dates. Now, how frequently is your spouse paid? So we're going to say the same thing as we did before, twice monthly. On what date? I'm going to use the same date. Of course, again, use the date that works for you. That's on your pay stub. And then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put in 50,000 as well. I'm going to put the same numbers year to date. What did we receive this year? And we're going to put $100 there, just to show you what it looks like. And then using your last statement, enter the federal income tax withholdings. And I'm sorry, I made a mistake there. I should have put 0 and 0. And then for the year to date, we're going to put in 2,500. So bonuses, I put in 0. And then we're going to put in 2,500 and $100 for the pay period. Now the next section, same thing, 401k, FSA, HSA, FSA. We're going to choose no, and then next. So adjustments to your income. We're not going to choose any adjustments. This is a simplified walkthrough. We're going to say no to any deductions. Of course, if you want to go through the deductions, you can, but this is going to be the standard deduction. So unless, and you can see it right there for 2021, unless your deductions, your itemized deductions are over $25,100, you're just going to choose the standard. For most filers, it's going to be the standard deduction. It's going to be a very rare case where you're actually going to itemize your deductions. Now, if you're a small business owner, you're going to do that at the business level. It's going to be a little bit different. Or if you're a Schedule C filer, possibly, but again, that's going to be at the business level. Tax credits is the next section, and we're going to go get my results without any tax credits. Do you want to see what the tax credits are? Go ahead and check that off, and you can kind of look through them. Any ones that jump out that you might qualify for, if you think that you qualify for the retirement savers credit because you're saving into a retirement plan and you have a low enough income, then you can go ahead and check that out. You can also click on these little question marks, which gives you not only a little explanation or definition of what that credit is, but it also gives you a link to the IRS publication to in detail explain exactly what that credit is. So you can look at the credits because that is going to help you reduce your taxes. It means you have a bigger paycheck. So then we're going to click off next. We're not going to go through any credits there. Now here is the important page. So it's going to show you what you're currently doing as far as the expected tax withholdings. That's if you really don't change anything. But your anticipated tax obligation. So what this is calculating is how much taxes that you're going to owe the IRS based on the information that you've provided. So if there's a difference, which in this case there is, estimated underpayment means we are not withholding enough. So it's going to make an adjustment. Now, a lot of the times we're withholding too much. So that means we're getting a big refund at the end of the year where we can really get it back earlier in the year. So it's really important that we get this as accurate as possible. Now, here is the number one mistake. The number one mistake I see in filling out the IRS form W-4, probably the number one answer to most of the questions that I actually receive is, how do I fill this out? If I'm married filing jointly, how do I fill it out? If I have 2 children, how do I fill it out? If I'm taking this tax credit, how do I fill it out? It's right here. Go through the online estimator. But the number one mistake is it's not only here for you, it's also here for your spouse. So it is automatically splitting up your withholdings based on your income. So if you just click on these links right here, Form W-4, we're going to click on it and it's going to download your PDF. Just open it up. It actually filled it out for you. I know it doesn't look like it, but it did. Now, all you have to do is print this out, or if you already have the paper version, just look at what the answer is. On here, it's step 3. Step 3 has 45. I know that looks really simple, like, wait a second, all it's giving me is 45, that's it? Yes, that is the answer. So all you have to fill out is the top information right here with your basic information, and then you're gonna check off right here as married filing jointly. So all the information, step 1, enter in your personal information, your social security number, enter in the number 45, leave everything else blank, sign it down here, date it, and that's it. That's all you need to do. Now, again, that mistake was going back to the other link. Let's scroll down and look at the spouse's Form W-4. Let's click on that one. It's the same thing because it's splitting it up evenly because I put the exact same numbers in there. Now let's for a minute go back to the calculator. Let's go back to this calculator for just a second, and we're going to go to the income really quickly. And I'm going to put in 75,000 or 78,000, whatever. 78,000 here, and we're going to leave 50,000 for the spouse. We're going to click next, 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 and it's going to recalculate it for us. So we can come down here. You see this is 78,000 now. We can click on that W-4 and we can look at it, and you can see it made an adjustment. Now I have to withhold more because I didn't change the withholdings. I still had that 2,500, but now I need to withhold more because we're making a little bit more money. So it's making that adjustment for us. Instead of putting anything in step 3, we're going to put it on line 4C for an additional withholdings. So at the end of the year, we won't end up owing the IRS a big tax bill. So this is how you make that adjustment. And again, we can go back to the other one. We can go to our spouses again and see what it gave us there. And in this one, it says our spouse is now going to have to withhold $61 more. So extra withholdings on line C, step 4, line C. So that's 4C, entering in 61. So it's really important that if you're filling it out as married filing jointly, that you also fill it out with your spouse and make sure that you're both submitting it to your employers, your updated IRS form W-4. So in the beginning of the video, I talked about 2 big mistakes. Well, one of them is not realizing that your spouse's IRS form W-4 just got updated. And the second one is looking at this information that the estimator gives us and thinking it's not accurate and then just not entering it in because we didn't have any dependents. But in step 3, on the first time we filled it out, it wanted to make an adjustment. So it put a number in step 3. So that might be a little confusing for some when you're looking at step 3 and it says claiming dependents. And then it says add amounts above and enter their total here. And you're saying, wait a second, I don't have any dependents. So why is it putting a number there? That is why. It's going ahead and making that adjustment. And you can also see from this form, for example, the credit for a dependent that's under the age of 17 is $2,000. But that's $2,000 credit that is basically divided over all your paychecks throughout the course of the year. So the number that we saw before is really a number that gets divided over the course of the entire year. So it's making a small adjustment. So if there is a large number there, don't think that it's going to either withhold all that money or it's going to take that money out of your paycheck or something. It's not going to make much of a difference or an adjustment. So you want to put whatever the estimator says right on your paper version and hand it to your employer. Now, going through the online estimator does absolutely nothing for submitting the W-4. The IRS has no clue what's going on. Your employer doesn't know what's going on. Nothing gets submitted here. It's just a calculator for you to use. You go on, use the estimator, take that answer, put it on the paper version, and give it to your employer, and you're good to go. That's what you need to do. And if you want more information, need more help, here's where you can look. If you go back to the estimator and we scroll all the way to the bottom, this is a very important page that I would recommend printing it out. Just click the print button so you have it for your records. So if you make a mistake or have a question, this is the information that you're going to need. So if you're asking, I'm married filing jointly, how do I fill out the IRS form W-4? It really depends on your particular financial situation, but all the information that you're entering it in here will show up on this last page. So that if you think that there's a problem or something doesn't look right, this is where you want to go to see if there is a mistake. So this is how you can help yourself. And if you do have a question, this is the information that I would even need to look at to understand whether or not you made an error in one area versus another, or to figure out or answer your question on how to fill out the IRS form W-4. Now, I know that was a lot when filling out the IRS form W-4, and I'm sure you have a ton of questions. So let me know in the comments down below. And of course, if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and leave your comments down at the bottom.